right. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon. Good day. Happy Wednesday. I almost forgot what day of the week it was, but good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing today?
Doing well.
Doing good.
Good. We are excited. Well, I'm excited to be sitting here talking to former Sumter Mayor Steve Creech and also Jake Cline, who was born, raised, educated right here in Sumter, South Carolina. Wanted to talk to you gentlemen today a little bit about the capital penny sales tax, how we're feeling about it.
Pretty good.
Good.
We're excited about the opportunity once again to have this added additional tax that will supplement so many different projects in the community. Are we excited about having that on the November ballot?
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about the history because a lot of people aren't aware of the history or what Sumter looked like, felt like, what was really happening or transpiring in Sumter, South Carolina pre-penny. Now, Jake, you were just a tot back in 2006. You were like 3 years old or something in 2006.
Yeah, that's right.
But our former mayor, before we actually ratified or implemented the penny here, it was just, you were the mayor between 1988 and 2000, correct?
That's correct.
So you would have seen what was happening or transpiring in Sumter just before. But you know what? Before we talk about that, let me say who I am. I talked about our former mayor and I talked about Mr. Jake Cline, but I'm Erika Williams. And I think my mother would appreciate me introducing myself since she gave me that great name a long time ago, not revealing ages on this episode of the podcast. You have to tune in. Maybe I'll reveal that later. At any rate, but tell us a little bit about the history and what was Sumter pre-penny.
Well, I think you really need to look at it. It's a wonderful project. We've said for years we're too small, we're too rural, and we're too southern.
That's right.
To operate without this.
That's right.
But prior to 2006, there wasn't an enabling legislation that allowed counties and cities to do things like this.
Okay.
So it was a coming thing. The forefathers in this community were smart enough to realize that we needed something like this. We're very unusual in that our city council and our county council work so closely together.
They do work.
There's a lot of places that doesn't happen, but here it does. And it has to be that way for that same reason. We don't have time to be bickering back and forth. So this was an opportunity for us to do some positive things. We could begin to see what folks were doing in other communities with that little penny. And I just commend the folks in 2006 for, along with the Chamber of Commerce, to take the initiative to put it on the ballot.
That is great. Now, Jake, I was kidding a little earlier when I said you were probably 3 running around at that time. But wow, take us back to 2006. And where were you in Sumter? Where were you at that point in your life?
Yeah, so in 2006, I had just finished high school, Lakewood, and
Go Gators!
Yeah, go Gators! In my recollection of it, I feel like that's been 20 years ago, and it's getting close to it. But Sumter looked very different. It felt very different, not in a bad way, from a standpoint of where growth needed to happen. Things that we see every day now and we kind of take for granted. We pass by and those weren't there. The parks, the playgrounds, all that kind of stuff, the city improvements, county improvements, all those things. So it looked and felt very different. Again, not in a bad way, but the opportunity for growth was there. So it motivated me to want to stay here and continue my life here.
Sure. Now, we all like that. We want to make sure that we have a continuous pool of individuals that are working, right. That are shopping at our businesses and our retail and things of that nature. So that's really good. And it's good from a younger person to hear the significance of the penny. Now, the thing is with the penny, and you talked about 2006 would have been the first time any sort of legislation or anything was available for that penny. So do you recall if several communities outside of Sumter, like all around the state of South Carolina, actually, I'm going to say adopted or voted for the penny that year, or was Sumter stand alone?
I think Charleston, it strikes me as one of the first in the state.
Okay.
That has come up with that. And they've done some major road projects down there with the penny. most of their pennies is paid for by people that don't live in Charleston.
So you mentioned about the roads in Charleston and major projects. What are some of the things that the penny covers here for Sumter County residents?
Well, I think, as my memory serves me correctly, there's a big portion of this on this ballot this year's paved and unpaved roads.
That's correct.
Again, you have to understand you're using public funds, so it has to be public roads. Can't go in and pave roads that aren't on public property. But there's a big portion of this penny, and I forget which percentage is. It might be 20%.
I think it was that and resurfacing a bunch of roads too.
Yes.
One of
that
the
was a
other.
big.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes, it's always, so it's roads and infrastructure. There's also the economic development piece, and that certainly rings home for me, if you will, with the economic development. Most people aren't aware of how important it is to prep a site, and, to prep a county or a city to be able to recruit industries globally or from other places in the United States. So there's the economic development piece. And you mentioned the parks and recreation. So there were lots of parks, and then public safety is a huge component and part of it as well. And that was on the initial penny in 2008. And of course, in the 2014 penny.
Yep.
And to the point that you mentioned, it's also on the ballot for our 2024 election as well. What are some of the successes that we've seen with that you may want to talk about or discuss? What are some of the things?
Let's take the fire department, for example.
Yes.
We have the lowest ISO rating in the state, which means our insurance rates are as low as you can get in the state because we have that fire protection.
Now, most people would think a low ISO rating. Wait a minute, low. We usually high numbers mean success. Talk about the low rating.
Well, you want, that's response time.
Okay.
How long does it take that truck to get to your property if they have a fire call? And when they get there, what do they have with them?
Okay.
What is the water flow? How much water can they bring? How many hydrants can they hook up to? All of that makes a big part of what the community is tied to. These trucks that they drive cost a lot of money.
Yes, they do.
It's hard to budget something that costs $1.2 million in a normal budget year. What we've done in the past is we've kind of reserved money long until we could put the money together. So that's a prime example of how this helps the entire community when people don't realize it.
Sure.
You can build rural fire stations. You can do all of these things. Sometimes by using this penny, we free up other money in the normal operation budget to be used for other things.
That's right. And you were talking about the ISO rating. So what does that mean for me as a citizen, as a resident?
That means your
ISO rating.
That means your homeowner's insurance is going to be cheaper.
I like that.
You do.
I enjoy that immensely.
And you don't have to
I
go
enjoy that as well.
You don't have to go too far into other counties, and I'm not going to mention Lee, Clarendon, or Williamsburg, where their fire insurance ratings is different.
So that penny has been the difference maker for us.
It has been a big help, yes.
Absolutely. So what happens if 2024, when we wake up, well, it is 2024. What happens, on November 5th, late in the evening, post 7 o'clock, if we learn that we did not pass the penny this year, what does that look like for us?
I don't think the world's coming to an end. We've already seen that 2 years ago. But we will have missed a great opportunity.
We actually talked about that the other day, and I said, I remember, I think it was 2013 or 14. I remember it being on the ballot as, and it probably wasn't this simple, but do you want to vote for the penny tax? Yes or no? And it was just that simple. So I think, I don't know that it got, he said it got, Philadelphia lawyer couldn't understand. And I agree with that 100%. But I think it just, where it's made simple for us to understand and doing these podcasts so that we do understand what the penny's going towards. You can't put all this on a ballot, right? But once we educate folks enough to where they understand what it is that we're doing with this money and what these programs and things are that we're implementing in the community, then when they see that, do you want the penny? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I think just making it a little easier to understand through this, through this dynamic.
And so from my understanding, it's a lot easier. And the word penny will be in the explanation on the ballot and the description. So it'll make it a lot easier when you see penny and then you see yes or no, then it'll make it a lot easier. The thing about it, and just to give some very quick numbers, so in 2006, for year one, there were 16 projects and $72.1 million raised by that penny. And then in 2014, once again, when we decided as a community that we wanted to endorse and have this penny, there were 28 projects and $92.6 million. So to your point, that is much more dollars that are raised collectively as a community, and also by people who are not even who aren't residents here, who do not live in Sumter, who are passing through on their way to the beach or on their way to visit others, that are helping to offset these projects, these collective, what is that, 16 and 28, 44, my quick math tells me those 44 projects that were implemented. So that's outstanding. That is truly outstanding. And so you said that life won't end on November 5th if we do not, but what does that mean for us as a community? Because we still want to maintain that low ISO, right? We still want to maintain that rating, and we still want to have these projects. So what does that mean for us if we don't pass it? We just do not have these opportunities, or what happens?
Well, I think, first of all, I wouldn't look at it as what if it doesn't pass.
Okay.
Let's be a little more positive than that. I think it'll pass. I think we'll make enough people aware that we have to have this if we go continue to grow.
Absolutely.
Or either we'll fall behind.
Okay.
We don't want to fall behind.
We do not want to fall behind.
We don't want to do that. So let's look at it as a positive thing. There are going to be some folks in the community that say, well, I don't want to pay another penny. But the truth of the matter is, they won't know that you don't miss the penny.
What'd you do with your penny for the last 2 years?
I was getting ready to say,
Right. Yeah.
You don't know. And I didn't save it. Spent it in some other community that was using it.
Absolutely, because there are surrounding communities.
That's right.
And when we go out to other communities and we leak our dollars to surrounding communities, we're helping to
They
offset.
reap the benefits of that.
They absolutely do.
And we should be
I'm
doing
not a
the
fan
same.
of that.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that. We need to keep our dollars local to support our community and our projects, right?
Ma'am.
So, gentlemen, and before we close out, are there any additional, I was going to say parting words, parting words, or anything additional? What would be your message to those voters who are on the fence? What would be your outgoing message to them?
I think my message would just be simply, I feel like I want to speak for the younger families out there, that folks that went to high school with me that you touched on earlier, that may have left the community and then come back once they started a family, which is happening a lot more and more every day. Is the penny is helping to sustain projects that are going to allow our children to have nice facilities to play in. I take my kids to the park all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to see Sumter grow, this is home. And being able to see home grow in a way that you have an effect of how it grows is important to me. And I think the folks that left and are coming back, it's important to them too. So I would just say that, the penny is going to create opportunities for us and for your family that's going to allow Sumter to continue to grow moving forward. That would be my message. So.
That's a good message. And the first thing when you were talking about you and your family and your children going out to the park, and I was just going to say, I too enjoy a good brisk walk in the park until there's an unleashed dog. Yeah. That's when there's an issue for me. I have an adverse relationship with pets. So
I understand.
But what about you how do you feel about it? What is your party?
That no one uses all of these 28 projects.
That's right.
I don't go to parks. My grandchildren live in Columbia. They're not playing ball over here.
Okay.
But they're playing ball in Lexington County.
That's right.
Richland County doesn't have baseball parks.
Oh.
No, they don't. They say the kids don't play basketball. They don't play baseball. Anyway, it's another story. My whole deal is this. We need to look at the overall picture. Everything is not going to be perfect for you.
That's right.
But you need to look, the biggest economic engine we have in this community is Shaw Air Force Base, bringing in $2.6 billion a year. Those folks are coming from places that have other places that are very nice.
That's
and we want to keep them coming here. We want them happy to be serving their service time here, and hopefully they'll retire here. and uplift us all.
That's right. That's right. Those are good parting messages. So you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. We want you to go out and support. Once again, support your community. It speaks volumes when you can live and work and play and pray in a community that understands the need to support projects for this generation and future forward. So thank you, gentlemen, both for being a part of this podcast and encouraging others to go out and vote yes on November 5th. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.